guy from the Sumerians. That's on the agenda. But shit, I forgot what we were talking about.
Great war tactics and how they got it from the Sumerians, how they lined up
Well,
and
no, the
used
Sumerians,
shields.
what they were talking about, like how they presented themselves and then how it got lost. How did it get lost? How did the Sumerian text get
Columbus
lost?
came to America and gave them the HIV or something.
No.
Bacteria.
No.
No.
Yeah.
No. It's comparable.
It's so
effects.
far, man.
They were exploited. They were exploited.
Who was?
By whom?
The Sumerians.
Yeah, well, the okay.
They
that's-
were.
Okay, who
So-
came down and
Who
exploited them?
exploited
That's
them?
No, well, nobody really exploited the Sumerians. The Sumerians were just the first to do a lot of these things. Like the Sumerians were the first to use.
Who was before the Sumerians?
It's not
There was
really
no
defined.
great civilization before the Sumerians that we know of. That's
That
it.
we know of.
We used to think it was the Greeks, and the Greeks are, I don't know, 2,000-3,000 years ago. And
Samaria was before all them.
And then they didn't know about the Egyptians back then. They thought the Greeks were the beginning of all civilization. And then the Greeks had their myths about all the gods and everything, and then they found out about Egypt. And then they're like, damn, man, this stuff even predates
Damn, the
Greeks.
Egyptians over in
And so
that
they're
other
like-
county.
And so they said forever, like, nah, man, Egypt that's the beginning of where the civilization was. And then boom, then no.
And it's
no.
not true.
So there probably is something, because Sumerian culture like goes back about 4,000 BC, so about 6,000 years ago. So there probably is something that predates that, because we know,
When did the Nephilim show up?
man, that was like 500,000 years ago.
Oh, it was before the Sumerians?
Yes, man.
That was in the Noah's age. That's why God
Yeah, the time of Noah was before the Great Flood.
was Noah before the Sumerians.
Yes.
I didn't know that. I thought it was
Well,
afterwards.
I'm saying the Sumerians of, like, you're talking about Sumerian culture that we know of now.
Yeah.
It goes back like 6,000 years. I think they were there before then.
Okay.
But so like the time of Noah, like Noah predates the flood. Noah knew about the
Yeah.
flood. So the flood is basically the end of the last ice age, which was like 12,000 years ago. Yeah.
So the Sumerians came after Noah.
No, they were there before the flood too.
Wow. Okay.
They were there before.
We need a timeline and a
Like-
spreadsheet.
That's what I'm
A
doing.
good, yeah, like a great graphic would be a nice timeline that just goes.
What about, okay, this brick is
No, that's
Egypt,
This
and then over here is the Sumerians, and then Jesus is going to be over here.
we gotta add that to the list, like a good timeline.
A good timeline.
of like major civilizations. Because
We
most
need a
people,
spreadsheet, Excel
like you
spreadsheet.
asking me that, like makes me think about it. Like, and it's true. Like most people don't actually understand like the real timeline, and
Oh,
it could
well.
some of it could be lied to us, but don't understand. Like they know a little bit about history, but they don't know anything. They think the Egyptians are just these goofy people that lived like on the Nile and lived in the sand. Like they don't know anything. Like they have no idea those people dominated that area for thousands.
Yeah, and
of
that
years.
all that sand was a whole big forest.
Well, it says the
Just
days
so
of
green.
Jared. It's about the days of Jared. Genesis 6 experiment, the 9th Jubilee. That was in 3,550 BC. So that's like dinosaur time.
No way. The dinosaurs are millions. That's how we get all the oil.
No, but still,
Remember
like,
going to Disney when you were a
all
kid?
the old stuff, all
The dinosaurs
old,
gave us oil.
Dude,
But the
it's
first
not-
generation
Oh, I know it's
Nephilims,
not.
the Titans, ruled for 500 years. Okay.
In the 80s,
so
they
that's
were still
Enoch's
trying to teach us that.
365 years.
No,
That's pre-flood Nephilim.
It's Enoch.
Enoch.
Enoch went to heaven,
Yes.
according to the book of Enoch.
And that's
No,
then
Enoch,
there's
Enoch
the death of
walked with
Adam.
God.
Yeah.
Well, they're
I
saying
listened to the book of Enoch.
Okay.
the death of
So-
Adam and the first generation of Nephilim killed is with the Enoch of being raptured.
Yeah, he went
y'all
to
know
heaven.
anything
He was
about that?
taken to heaven.
Yeah.
No,
So,
they literally took him up.
so
But he came
between
back.
then and
Yeah,
that,
he came back.
yeah.
He came back.
Enoch
and he-
is the daddy of Noah.
He's
So,
the grand,
but
he's the
then
grandfather
after
of
that,
Noah.
Yeah,
the
grandfather
flood.
Noah.
So it goes
Methuselah
from
was his father, and Enoch was his
Yeah,
father.
that's correct.
it's
That's correct.
3,550 BC, and the Great Flood was 2,350 BC.
Mm-mm.
That's what I'm saying.
No, that's
Or Noah
well,
told to
this
build
is
the
a,
ark.
This is a debated subject, but no, all the end of the last the Great Flood or the Biblical Flood is just is a flood event that happened roughly 12,000 years ago.
12,800.
But where does the Nephilim come into that?
No, way prior.
Way prior, but they're
all the
saying that
all the
it
Nephilim
comes
are
into
all the
that.
Nephilim are
Giants,
the
the great giants.
the Anunnaki who came from heaven to earth came. Like,
Yeah, the Bible says it's the angels that came down to be with the earthling.
they are the angels. We're talking about the same thing.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Yeah, they came to mate with earthling women.
Yeah, and that's
They
how
said-
we got the
But
giants.
isn't that how you create? What is it? The gods. It's the gods that mate with humans, and they make the other gods.
Well, they make
Demigods.
They make demigods.
Yes.
Now there was a time, like especially in Egypt and Sumeria, and they talk about the king's list and everything. They talk about there's a time where the gods ruled for thousands and thousands of years, and then there was a time when demigods ruled. So like half god, half men ruled, and then they finally passed down kingship to mankind, and you had
They just jetted.
well,
out.
or they just stepped back a little bit and just stayed in the shadows. Nobody saw them. That's why I like.
Because once you have power, you don't want power anymore.
Well, you stay in the shadows sometimes, man. That's why.
Dude.
That's why the god.
Dude,
the god
I
from,
don't like that.
What's one of the biggest gods of Egypt? Ra.
Raw?
Like so, Ra.
He's in Stargate.
Ra is the same
Kurt Russell movie?
Sumerian deity as Marduk, and he was always known as like the unseen god. Like Ra, that kind of means like the unseen god. So nobody ever saw him, but he just kind of ruled from out of the picture. Like a lot of people didn't even lay eyes on these people. Like they had their sacred precincts where they
Where were they hanging out?
of. I don't know.
Amazon? In the Amazon?
Ancient
Which
Greece.
the Amazon's all planted. Did you know that?
Oh, the Amazon.
The Amazon, all those like trees and stuff were planted. They're not indigenous to that area.
Okay, so we've made it this far. We screwed up the
Ooh.
Greek war tactics.
It's okay. We got
Let's
10
talk
minutes
about
to go.
let's talk about World War III and Putin.
All right.
Do you think it's even possible, man? Like,
We talked about this last time.
no, you didn't talk about it.
You talked about
I tried
it.
to get serious, and you weren't having it.
Yeah.
With Kiev, Tehran,
But
and
no, man,
Taipei.
it's possible, right? I mean,
Of course it's
you've got like a
possible.
small scale war going on. Like, I don't think it's like much of anything. Like, I think Russia's in control of this. Like, it's been in control. I think it's all just bullshit.
Can you imagine if nobody helped Ukraine? Russia just went over there and just smashed their butts.
Dude, I think Russia could do it right now if they wanted to. In 24 hours, I think they could annihilate Ukraine. Like, not using
they're taking
nuclear weapons.
Yeah, they're taking it
They're
easy
not
on
using
them.
everything on them.
Ukraine's not even using jets. I mean, Russia can go in there and just pound down.
Zelensky
But-
dances
But he
around in
doesn't-
G-strings and shit, man. Like,
Putin doesn't want to kill
No.
his constituents because one of these days, Ukraine's, from what I'm hearing, Ukraine is the money laundering place of the world.
it could be.
Putin
I know.
knows it.
I know it's a cabal black site. Like
yeah.
it's definitely like a base of operations of some kind. Like
Sure.
they're running shit through there. They always have been.
What's the export of Ukraine?
Grain, maybe.
Oh yeah, that's a big money maker. Big money maker.
I think Russia's like blocking some of that stuff.
Yeah, they won't let them export it.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, their total export is 27.8 billion, according to 41% of the country's 68 billion in overall exports. Ukraine
What's
is
the highest? Like grain?
Grain and
this
Grain
is
and
just
children.
and those Chinese handcuffs. I think Ukraine makes those.
sunflower meal, oil, and
See, it's all grain. It's
Yeah.
all grain crap.
They're talking about it being like the breadbasket of that area.
Yeah.
But if we circle back to World War III, the predictions is Kiev, Tehran, and Taipei. But wow.
Well, okay, so Taiwan is going to get invaded. Like Trump's always said that, like for years. He's saying basically that China's going to invade Taiwan, but Taiwan might end up being like another Ukraine. Like it might be like another
Taiwan, another dirty place.
It could be. That's what I say. I know that we are working with Xi Jinping of China and Vladimir Putin. Like I know they're totally on board. Like everything's cool working with Trump. Like they're taking down the deep state. So if China's invading Taiwan, it's for a reason.
Why
Yeah,
is
and what about
America just?
Israeli strikes.
We could
on
already
the earth of
feed
Israel.
all the homeless. We could house all the homeless. We could give all the homeless care.
What are you talking about? Because we give so much money to Ukraine?
Oh, yeah, we built hotels and doctors just to take care of the homeless people, the mentally ill, and take care of them with all the billions and hundreds of billions that we sent over there. We could take care of all the people that live under the overpasses.
You could take care of everything, man.
Even us.
It's
They could take care of us.
Yeah, they could probably give us all like an extra like 20 grand a year or something.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But that ain't happening, man.
Yeah.
Your country hates you.
My country.
But they're splitting everybody up, like who is with and who is not. Is that right?
Divide and conquer.
Well, that's what they've always done,
Yeah.
man. But that
Through
ain't,
chaos
that
comes-
ain't working no more.
What's the say about chaos?
The what?
I can't even say it. I'm not even
Chaos?
allowed. Yeah.
Like chaos theory? What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's like with chaos, you divide and you conquer.
Well, with chaos.
Well,
it's
they've always
disorder
done
of
that, but that's not
confusion.
even in play anymore. Like things are different now. Like
They're dividing the country
yeah, they try.
when they have us at odds. And to be honest with you, I know where we live, there's no chaos. I've had so many people open the doors for me from every race.